Welcome to Synthetic Oil Protection. I'm your host Eben, and today is another exciting video. And this video is going to be about Bree here, and this is about a disabled, basically woman that got taken for a ride by Chapman, Las Vegas. And this is her story, and she's going to be sharing it with you. So I've never heard this story before, but I've heard subtlety parts of it because I always meet up with her at the coffee shop. And she tells me this stuff, and I told her, yeah, I do a YouTube channel and I like helping people a lot and sharing the truth and giving back information that could help someone else. So that's what this video is going to be about today, is helping you so you know not to make certain decisions and stuff like that. So Bree, how long have you been in Las Vegas?
18 years.
All right, 18 years.
Yes.
And so tell us this. If you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe. So tell us the beginning of this story. How did this all begin?
So it all began with me. I have not had a car in almost 5 years because I have spine injuries. I've been going through various spine procedures and therapies. And so purchasing this car was supposed to be a big milestone in my recovery, and it was supposed to be something to help me gain more independence because living in an international city, especially Las Vegas, it's very spaced out. I don't know if people know that, but it's not a very walkable city.
Yeah, the blocks are a mile?
Yeah, the blocks are just absolutely huge. Like the blocks that each casino is on, that's about how big a neighborhood block is in Las Vegas. So it's a very kind of walkable, unless you stay in your neighborhood. You can like walk and bike in your neighborhood, but to get from one area of the city to another, it's not easy. So this was going to help me, and then I could get out and do things like go hiking, get back to the gym because I haven't been in the pool for a couple years, and that really helps me with
That's
my therapy. Yeah, because with COVID, the gym closed down, and then they weren't open for a long time, and so but then I decided I wanted to switch to another gym, and so I had to find one, and yeah, all that. So this car was supposed to help me with all of that, and just visiting with friends more. When you have a disability, especially when it's what's called an invisible disability like me, I have spine injuries, and a lot of people will just look at me and say like, oh, you don't look like anything's wrong with you. But what does a spine injury look like from the outside, right? It's not
nothing.
Like,
you can't see anything.
It's not, people think that it's like, what was that scientist that passed away a few years ago where he was like in the chair?
I know who you're talking
who
about.
I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The name will come to me.
Sure.
But that's not a spine injury, that's a birth defect. But when people think of spine injuries, that's what they think. And so it can be really difficult for me sometimes. So long story short, I go to buy this car. I'd been looking for quite a while.
So what made you want to go to Chapman? That was my question.
Yeah, so I've been looking for quite a while, both in Vegas and in Arizona, for a car. And I just wanted to get something under 10 grand, low mileage, low gas, low maintenance, nothing fancy.
That's real easy.
Yeah.
That's super easy, yeah.
So I had been looking online, and a friend of mine works at Chapman. Well, more of an associate. We met downtown.
Wow.
Like we both live downtown, and we just kind of met in passing and just kept in touch a little bit.
That's a good connection to have someone that works somewhere.
Yeah. So I had texted him and said, hey, I saw this Jeep online. I think it had like 150,000 miles, but I just wanted it to truck around Las Vegas.
That's some miles, yeah.
Well, I just wanted it to drive around Las Vegas, just a little stepping stone.
And that's easily 10 grand or less.
To get used to driving a car again, because with my injuries, it really affects my neck and my shoulders. So I just wanted to get used to driving around again before I go buy like a Corvette or something. So I texted him, and he's like, yeah, I got COVID. I just got tested today, and I couldn't go back to work, and I'm going to be off for 2 weeks. This truck was priced at $4,500.
Wow.
So I took
That's not bad at all.
no.
That's not bad at all.
And I was gonna try to talk them down to maybe like $3,000 or $3,500.
Sure.
So I took cash with me.
All right, smart. That's a good thing. Smart cash.
Yeah. So I took cash because I wanted to try to talk them down a little bit. But when I had contacted them, they told me that because of COVID, they were only showing cars by appointment, and that they had somebody available. I told them I could come in at 7:30. So
Now, one subtlety with the cash, obviously, a couple grand, no big deal, but I wouldn't carry like 50 grand with you. That's a little dangerous. That's a little dangerous.
yeah.
Like, yeah, go ahead. All right.
Yeah.
I don't want to give any bad advice.
Yeah. I wouldn't walk in there with 50 grand in my bra.
No, that's not smart.
On my pocket. But yeah, I had like 5,000 in cash, and I brought my bank card, and I go down. Oh, so when I talked to them, they said, you need to schedule an appointment. So I take an Uber over there, and they paired me up with Taylor, who had just moved to Vegas. He worked for, I guess, a Jeep dealership. I don't remember if it was a Jeep dealership or a Chapman dealership up in Seattle. And he'd worked there for many years, and so he had transferred to Chapman.
So he was experienced. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
But he wasn't experienced at that dealership in the city, and so they had him training with the store manager. I'm sorry, the sales manager. There's various managers, but the sales manager. And shoot, what was his name? Anyway, it'll come to me.
It's okay.
Yeah. So the sales manager there, and then so what happened was, even before I went down there, I told them, look, I want to try to buy a house in Summerlin, and I've been trying to move, and I'm 38 years old, and my credit keeps coming back as no credit history. So I said, I want to buy this specific car for this specific reason, but I'm also open-minded to getting something that's like 10 grand that I just maybe put like half down on, and then finance the other half, just to get paid, because I don't have anything to make payments on. Like, your utilities only report you when you don't pay, not when you do pay. So it makes it kind of hard if you just have regular bills and you haven't bought anything for years. So I sent them, I work for myself, so I sent them 3 bank statements. And then I went, and then I went down there. So I was open-minded to leasing a car, even though my intent was to pay cash for this one. I was on the fence about it because I really need to like build up my credit for my future. So I go down there, they show me this truck, and I didn't really want it, honestly, but it had really low miles on it. It's a basic, I think it's called like Bullet Gray or something.
What type of truck was it?
It's a Jeep Patriot.
A Jeep Patriot. All right.
Yeah, and I'm from the rural area, not far from Toledo, Ohio, which is exactly where they're made.
Oh, all right.
And so I'm very familiar with the durability of a Jeep. So that wasn't even a question for me. So this other Jeep had 72,000 miles on it, and it's a 2016.
So that's like a new car almost.
Yeah,
it's pretty new. Yeah.
It was what, like less than 10,000 miles a year, I think. So I look at so what happened was, when we walk out of the office showroom area, and then we walked straight out, and they had already brought the Jeep and they backed it up.
All right.
And so as soon as I walk up to it, it had a sold as is sign on it, and I asked them about that, and they said that it was being sold as is. I don't remember the reason why they said. I think I wrote it down in my notes.
And that's very common. A lot of places do as is, and it's just it's terrible.
I'll tell you, it's actually, so I asked them why, and I forget what they told me, but they said, don't worry about it, we can sell you an extended warranty. So here's the thing though, the reason why the car is sold as is because it's a state law in Nevada. These people have no idea what the laws are in the industry in which they're working, and that's a huge problem.
So repeat that again, tell them again.
The reason why the car is sold as is because it's used.
All right.
That's the law in the state of Nevada.
All right.
There's no other reason. So if I were to go out and buy a brand new 2022 Jeep today with like 3
miles on it that's already been, it's in someone's name. Even though they didn't drive it, they wrote their name on it and sold it.
Right.
It's still a used car.
It's still a used car.
And it's still as is.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So, yeah. So, if you're not buying it brand new from the dealership and you're not the first original owner, it's used and it's sold as is. That's just the law. But they don't know that. They give me some line of nonsense. Let me tell you about this warranty. They sell me the warranty, the extended warranty, but they don't give you the paperwork. What they give you is a laminated thing that kind of looks like a menu. It's about this big. It's laminated and it has these charts on it.
Looks like a menu. That's funny as the son of a bitch.
It didn't even really make sense to me. And
that's hilarious.
I ended up getting the highest package. And so what happened was it was $3,000. When I went home afterwards and realized what had gone on, I realized when I got home the next day that I had different paperwork than the paperwork they showed me in the office, specifically regarding the warranty. I mean, completely different. What they actually gave me was a little booklet of paperwork with all of the terms and conditions. If you were to open, so they have the cover sheet, you open it up and it's the first page and there's a chart, a little box with a 1 through 7 or 8 or something. And it tells you everything that disqualifies you from being eligible for this warranty.
It's a long list, a very long list.
It was like 8 different things.
Sure.
And number 6 says that if you are driving the vehicle for business purposes, like not an Uber or a Lyft, but me, I run a VIP hosting business. I do event planning.
What is the name of your business?
For executives in town on business.
Give them your handles.
It's Aberrant.
All right.
Oh, I just set up all the new paperwork and everything, so I don't have
an Instagram or Facebook yet. Not yet. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
But I will. It'll.
And that's
be
your
coming.
website.
Yeah.
Aberrant.
I don't even have that.
Oh, all right.
Yet.
All right.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
But I'll get you all of the information
all right.
on that.
We'll put it in the description section below.
Yeah.
We'll put that down there.
Yeah. So, where was I? What was I saying?
So we're back to the 8 things that'll void your warranty.
So the reason I brought up my business is because I work by appointment, and so I don't have a regular daily schedule. I might have a client to meet at 6 in the morning on a Monday. I might have a client to meet at midnight on a Thursday. I have people calling me at every time of the day because I get clients from all over the world. I get clients from Canada, Argentina, Mexico City,
Brazil,
Singapore,
Vietnam.
Yeah, literally.
Guatemala.
I've had clients from countries I'd never heard of, Qatar. Literally, I never even heard of some of these places. And then you get your regular influx of people from Europe and Australia. So I have people calling me, emailing me all the time. So, wait, what was I saying with that? Sorry,
We're on that warranty.
Oh, so the reason
There's
I'm saying that is
eight things
because,
that can void your warranty.
Yeah, and this is one of them. The way that I use my vehicle as a work vehicle by appointment, and I write my car off on my taxes.
Yep, you're done.
As a 60% work vehicle, 40% personal.
And that's normal.
That's normal.
It's very normal.
I've been doing that for 15 years because I only have one vehicle. If I had 2 vehicles, then it would be different, but I only have one. And so that's normal. And I made it very clear to them. And so for the reason that I'm using the vehicle, that warranty doesn't apply to me, so they should have never sold it to me to begin with. And this was information they knew. And when I contacted them after the fact and let them know about all of these things, they kept repeatedly telling me that only applies to Uber and Lyft drivers. And I kept telling them, no, it doesn't. Read the contract. I show the guy, I go down there and I show the sales manager the contract, and he looked like he'd been reading it for the first time in his life. Because he, to my face, had the contract in his hand and he's trying to tell me it's only for Uber and Lyft. And I'm like,
I'm not laughing at you.
I know you're not. I know you're not.
I see this with everybody.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, dude, it's number 6. And he's like, what? And he opens, I'm like, it's right there on the first page, 6 line of the first page, and each one of these lines are only half the page long. What are you talking about? How did you not know?
And I have a bunch of friends in the Corvette club that have had Corvettes and all this stuff, and they've had to sue the dealer, they had to sue the manufacturer because they won't pay. So if you ask anyone to fulfill a warranty, they won't do it unless you take legal action.
Thing about this warranty.
But I just wanted to know that you have to take legal action or they won't fulfill it.
Oh, here's the thing about, first of all, the warranty has more holes in it than Swiss cheese. And I told them that, like, the legal language, I can't find the paperwork because we'll have to do a follow-up video because I just moved and I have a lot of stuff boxed up. I found these because they're bright blue. I found these because they're bright blue, and I was like, oh, they're right there. But I'm gonna show you.
Let's take a look.
These are from about 10 years ago from CarMax when I bought some cars there. Now, in order for the warranty to be valid, in order to make a claim for the warranty, you have to have. This is the sticker. This is the sticker that's in the window. That's in the lot.
All right.
They should give you this. I know we're moving around a little bit,
okay, yeah.
but they're supposed to give you this. Okay. Every car that I bought from CarMax, I have that.
All right.
Okay. I bought a silver Chevy Cruze from them. These are from my car accidents when I was telling you I was in those car accidents.
So these are all cars that are totaled?
Yeah. So.
And are any of these your fault?
No.
Not one car that got totaled was your fault?
No.
Wow.
No, I got checks for all of them.
That's horrible.
See?
That's horrible.
I have this one too.
And this is in 5 years?
Yeah, 4.5 car accidents in 5. I'm sorry, 4.5 car accidents.
That's horrible.
4 car accidents in 4.5 years. That's why I bought all these cars.
Oh my God, that is so terrible.
It is, but so I won't go through all of them.
Yeah, but it's all there.
But, see, I have this.
It's all there.
The other. Oh, this MKZ, I actually bought it, and then they ended up getting the purple one. This was a gray one. And then they ended up getting the purple one at a lot in California, like 3 weeks later.
Now, I want to tell everyone a little secret now.
So I traded that car in.
Uh-huh.
They let me.
Yeah, let me tell everyone a little secret, though. So she went to a dealer.
Here's the third one.
All right.
Every car I have. Chapman did not give me this.
All right. Got it.
The truck was $17,000. I told him it was overpriced, that the other ones online were selling between like 15, 16. And I wanted to pay 16 for it. I wanted to put 6,000 down and finance 10,000. And part of what they did was in the actual contract is they changed the numbers. When I signed the contract, I'll show you. So what happened was.
Can I mention one thing quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, she went to CarMax, and CarMax is, fair to get a car there.
Yeah,
now,
it's fair.
So the reason I'm assuming is you thought you had a friend that was going to be there at the dealer when you bought the car.
Yeah.
That's what you initially thought.
Yeah. And
so that's why she went there. Now, I want to give this to everyone.
I didn't know he was off for COVID, and the reason why I didn't wait was because I was really interested in this truck that was only $4,500.
Got it. So I just wanted to mention, I have another female friend, and she also, the same exact thing. She's lived in town for about 25 years, and she went to get a Mercedes and got totally screwed. She went there because she knew a sales manager, and she thought that was her friend, and it wasn't. So if you think anyone at a dealership, just so you know, and I want
to make this clear too. I asked them, so after all this happened, and I hit up my friend, I'm like, you're never going to believe what happened. And he was like, oh, that guy, he's known for doing this stuff. I was like, oh, wow, okay. But Chapman, Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, I think, they have been in Vegas for a long time. They had 2 commercials on the radio at the end of 2021 saying that they were the top dealership in Las Vegas.
In volume. They sell a lot of cars.
Volume.
Sure.
Yeah.
They do.
And they're the top dealership in Las Vegas. And then a few weeks, and I literally wrote, I heard it in the car, 100.5. I wrote down the time and the date, so if we have to take this to court, I can subpoena the radio station for the commercial.
Wow.
So I wrote down the time and the date that I heard it.
Wow.
I'm not playing with these people. So then I hear another radio commercial, and I did the same thing. I wrote down the time and the date. And this one was saying that they were like the #1 car dealership on the West Coast.
Sure, I'm sure they are.
I'm floored.
Yeah.
So the reason why I show you these is the warranty that I didn't qualify for. In order to make a claim, you have to have this. It's in the paperwork. When I said that to the manager, when I went back to the dealership, he said that that's not true, and that he knows a lot of people that have made claims, and that the claims have been processed successfully. They've never had any problems, and they didn't need any paperwork.
So now what are you doing with this car? What are you going to do?
The car's sitting in front of my apartment.
So are you going to
So I called my
it?
bank, and I let my bank know about the fraud, and my bank said that, because part of the down payment was on a bank card and part of it was cash, and my bank said that they can't prove that I signed the paperwork under duress, and they don't know what happened there. It's their word against mine as far as the bank is concerned, so they can't reverse the charges. And then I escalated with Capital One to the office of the president, and they had someone call me telling me the exact same thing. But with Capital One, the bank that's holding the loan, they at no point in time were forthcoming. So my bank, Chase Bank, they'll call you with updates. They'll email, or they don't email updates, I don't think, but they, like earlier today, they called me with an update on something else. And then what was I gonna say? Anyway, so they send you a letter in the mail explaining like, I'm sorry, but we can't reverse this charge because they sent us the contract in the mail with your signature on it, and we can't prove that you signed it under duress, so we're not going to be able to reverse this charge. See, Capital One, I had to call them relentlessly, and I mean like every other day. I'm calling them on a recorded line, and I'm telling them, like, this is what's going on, that's what's going on, and they just give you the runaround. So while all this is happening with Capital One, they're calling me to collect a payment, and I tell them, I'm not paying you. I don't owe you any money. This is fraud. And I've been reading the statutes in the state of Nevada, and the statutes say that if there is, I guess we'll call it a controversy right now around the vehicle, I'm allowed to request that the lien holder put the vehicle in storage while the situation is being resolved. I can also request that the police do that, and I'm going to be doing that tomorrow because I'm getting nowhere with Capital One. So they said, well, we're not aware of that law. I said, it doesn't matter whether you're aware of it or not, it exists, and you have to proceed under the law. You can't just do whatever you want. And apparently they believe that if they claim that they're not aware of the law, then they don't have to follow it.
Wow.
That's not true either. Being ignorant of the law is no excuse for breaking it, and we're not talking about something simple here. So now they sent me a letter in the mail that I received about 10 days ago, and they said that they're gonna come repo the truck. And I'm like, you legally can't repo it. You gotta put it in storage. So now they're relentlessly calling me. I mean, relentlessly calling me. It got to the point where I told the lady on the phone that I know her name and I know her ID number, and if I get one more phone call requesting a payment for this car, when I file my lawsuit, I'll be individually naming every person from Capital One Bank that phoned me requesting payment, and they can hire their own attorneys to get them taken off the lawsuit. I don't care. I'm tired of it. I said, I have been in contact with you guys for months. I've been in contact with the office of the president. of Capital One Bank. I said I said I'm 100% positive that all of this information is in the notes of my account, so there's no reason why you should be calling me, and don't call me again. This is a cease and desist.
Now, can I give some, do you want to wrap it up with anything, or should I give my helpful notes on for someone in the future to avoid this?
Yeah, so what they did to me was when they gave me the paperwork, so say this is the lease, right? The one that they gave me isn't like this where it's like regular sheets of paper, right? So you have like all of these regular sheets of paper.
All right.
Theirs is long. So it's a little bit longer than this. It's probably like this long.
All right.
It's like 2.5 pieces of paper.
All right.
And it's one of those copies where it's like white, pink, and yellow. And so on this side of it is where they'll have all of the price. They'll have the price of the car, the tax, title, this and that. And then they have a total at the bottom. Oh, interest, it'll tell you the interest, all of that, and there's a total at the bottom. Well, they were supposed to sell me this car for $17,000, and they changed the numbers on the paperwork to $19,000.
Wow.
Swear to God. And so what she did was, when I went back to the finance manager's office, her name's Amber Clay, by the way. She put her hand over the paper like this. Do you see how I'm doing this?
Yep.
So all the numbers would be broken down right here. There'd be an itemization with a total.
Got it.
She goes like this. Oh, just sign right here. Sign here.
Got it. So it's all covered.
So I saw the total.
Yep.
And I was like, 20,000. That doesn't seem right. But mind you, this is at 11:15 at night, and they closed at 9 o'clock, and I had been there since 7:30. I missed an appointment. I told them I had to leave at 9 o'clock.
That's a long time.
Swear to God, I told them at 9 o'clock I had to leave, and they told me I'd be there another 15 minutes. I missed that appointment. I wish I would have gotten up and walked out. And the reason I didn't was because I was on medication at the time. My doctor had been telling me for like 8 months. He thought that I was very depressed. I'm still dealing with a lot of health and legal issues around these accidents. It's been a decade. And then with COVID, I couldn't get therapy. I had to go back on pain meds and muscle relaxers because I couldn't get therapy. And I was just really having a rough time.
And this happens with a lot of people.
Yeah. And so I didn't want to be on medication. I worked so hard for so many years to not be on medication. And I was just really depressed. My doctor, my GP had been telling me for like 8 months. So finally I call him one day and I'm like bawling my eyes out. I could barely tolerate being awake. And I just finally relented and was like, okay, I'll go on medication. And he put me on this medication. And I went back to see him a couple of days after this happened, and he said the medication was working, but it was working too well and it was too strong for me. What had happened was, the longer I was there, the more agitated I got. I missed an appointment. That was upsetting me, but I felt like I couldn't leave. And the reason why I felt like that is because I was the only one there. They were working, like I said, by appointment. And by this time, mind you, I'm also getting very tired. I've been sitting for a long time. My spine feels like it's compressing and it's very painful if I've been sitting for hours. And so I have all this going on, and then I'm on this medication, and my doctor said that what was happening with the medication was because I told my doctor this, sometimes I would move my hand and it would almost be like on a simulation where you kind of have that lag and you can see the pixels, how it's kind of pixelated. And I was like, ooh, is this my hand? And I was like, and I told my doctor that I felt like I was an avatar in a simulation and that the things that I was doing weren't a part of my life.
That's a goddamn disgrace. Gee.
And so I was also contending with that while I was at the dealership. Now, mind you, when I went there, I was completely of sound mind. But as things were progressing, they bring you paperwork, and this is what they do. They bring you the paperwork, but then they'll cover, say there's some vital information on this little tag, they'll cover it up and then just be like, oh yeah, see right here, it's just right here. And then I'm like, okay, but and then they shove it in your face like this, like, see, it's right there, that's the information you wanted. They snatch the paper and walk away, and they leave you sitting there. And I was sitting there with the guy that was in training. At no point in time did he stop any of this. At no point in time did he stand up for me. He just sat there and let all of this happen. I wanted to get up and leave, and I look over at the door, and there's 6 guys, and they're all, this is what I remember, they're all wearing black shirts, and they're all huddled, like there's like a desk in the corner by the door, and they're like all huddled like behind the desk in this area. And no, that was really happening. But then I wanted to get up and walk out the door, and just as I'm about to get up and walk out, one of the guys turns around and looks at me, and I don't know if he's thinking back now that I'm on a medication that's working for me and I'm more clear-headed. Thinking back now, he might have just been putting lotion on his hands, for crying out loud. But he's doing this, and he turns and he looks at me. And he turns back to these other 5 men. And in that moment, I was like, oh, I felt like I couldn't leave. Oh, let me tell you that.
Wow, that's
so
scary.
I told the sales manager I wanted to leave. And he comes with this stack of paperwork because I was requesting information about the truck, and he slams it down. I said, you know, I don't even want this truck, blah, blah, blah. And I want to compare it to other trucks. I want to come back when I'm not tired. I want to come back during the day. You guys are already closed. He slams this paperwork on the table. No, you're not going anywhere. You're signing this tonight. You are buying a car today. If you want a car, you're buying a car today. And I was just like, oh my God.
Holy
I felt
shit.
so trapped.
That's scary. She just scared me.
And so now this is fast forward a little bit of time, and I'm wanting to leave.
Shit.
I'm wanting to leave, and I'm really feeling like I'm being forced to purchase this truck that I don't want.
That's horrible.
And so when this guy is standing in the corner and he's like doing like this, and he turns over and he looks at us, he might have just been annoyed I was still there at 11 o'clock because they already closed 2 hours ago. Yeah. You know what I mean? But in that moment, I was like, oh my God, they're standing by the door. They're really not going to let me leave. I have to sign this paperwork.
Wow.
Like, I honestly felt like they were blocking the door.
Yeah.
They had sat this other guy, Taylor, at the table, so I couldn't get up and leave. They had this group of guys by the door, so I couldn't escape. And they were forcing me to sign this.
Tonight, yeah.
And it was really scary, honestly.
And I'm happy you're sharing this with everybody so they can know what to do when they're in this.
And if you look on Chapman, Las Vegas, so this was September 17th, I think. If you look on the reviews for Chapman, Las Vegas, you'll see that there's another lady that posted a review a couple days after this happened to me. I think it was on September 19th. And she almost word for word, same story. And then there was another lady that left a review saying she wished she would have taken an attorney with her.
Yep. So now should I start to give some advice for all the viewers out there and give some recommendations?
I just want to say one more thing.
All right.
One reason why I didn't notice the damage to the body of the truck, 2 things, sorry, quick.
Oh, yeah.
Was because they were standing in front of it. So when I pointed to the as is sign and I asked why they were selling it as is, I forget what he said. And then I had said to him that I had been looking at their cars online, and I'd been looking at Carvana because I was curious to what Carvana was. And all of the cars on Carvana had scratches on the body. And I was really thankful and impressed that at Chapman they touched them up. So when you looked at the pictures of the cars, they weren't all scratched up because I didn't want to buy a car that was all scratched up. And he said to me, oh yeah, that's really good. And he made this weird face, and he kind of like, and I was like, what? And he's like,
Jesus
oh no,
Christ.
that really sucks that they do that. That sucks that they don't fix the cars.
You just scared the living hell out of me. Holy shit.
And I was like, his behavior's a little bit off. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
That's
his
as
body
scary
language.
as a son of a bitch.
And so yeah.
So this car's all fucked
So
up.
the car was scraped all the way down the side. The front bumper has a gaping hole in it. The whole every side panel is scratched. Underneath the door, there's supposed to be this rubber liner bumper thing. That's completely gone. I mean, very blatantly this car's been in a car accident. The reason I didn't notice it was because when I went out to see the car, they stood in front of it. So pretend that damages my purse.
Jesus
Now
Christ.
there's two guys. There's one guy standing like this, the other guy standing like this, and when I walk and get closer to the car, they just all of a sudden open all the doors. So
What
I
the
didn't see
fuck?
the scratches up and down. And
What the
and I said,
hell?
and he tells me, get in, and I'm, mind you, all these little red flags, all of these, that doesn't seem right. These aren't a series of anomalies is a pattern. That's what you have to realize. So all of these little one-offs, these aren't all just a bunch of coincidentally one-offs. This is a pattern of behavior, and I really would go so far as to say that I believe that based on what happened to me, based on the knowledge I have now and the reviews that I've read, that this is an organized crime unit within the dealership
fuck?
that are blatantly and deliberately ripping people off.
Holy fuck,
I
that's
swear
scary.
to God.
That's
if somebody
scary.
wants to sue you for me saying that, tell them to give them my info, because I swear to God, that's what's going on. And I've been reading the statute, so I'm gonna go to the DA and I'm gonna let him know what I think. So the other thing that I was gonna say is shit, I forget, but definitely make sure that you know, pay attention to what doesn't seem right, because it's not. And don't give these people the benefit of the doubt. They're seasoned in what they're doing. They don't care about you. I told them that I had surgery.
Say that again. Say
they're
that again.
seasoned in what they're doing,
and
they don't care about you.
Thank you.
I
There
told
you
these
go.
guys that I have a follow-up surgery coming up this summer that's going to cost me $18,200. I've already scheduled it and put a deposit, and I'm going to need 2 to 3 months off work. And I was concerned about having a high car payment. Oh, the other thing, when I was talking about the price, do you know what they did? I have a P.O. box. And with my business, I get a physical address. It's a business feature when you have a P.O. box.
Sure.
So I have a physical address that's on University Center Drive over by the university, and that zip code is 89119. My zip code is 89101. First of all, they signed me up for insurance that I don't qualify for.
Oh, you told me about
The
this.
same thing. They signed me up. Okay, first of all, I don't auto pay bills. No. You're not getting into my bank account. I will pay you when the bill's due, the money that it says is due, but I don't do auto pay bills. They set me up on auto pay because it saved me $100 a year. Literally don't need that $8. Then they signed me up for that snap thing where like they literally put a tracker on your car and monitor your driving, and if
Stopping and braking and
yeah, and actually that can raise your insurance rates.
depending on how you drive.
Yeah, so don't go there unless
Yeah.
you drive like a grandma
Yeah.
on icy road that hasn't been salted.
Exactly.
Because you
Yeah.
will not want that. But I don't qualify for that because of the hours I work. So I meet a lot of people between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m.
Yep. Dangerous hours. That's when I get in all my car accidents, which we'll put up here in the corner.
Yeah, because there's a lot of drunk drivers during those hours.
Yep.
And I actually don't qualify. What is it called? I want to say
Snapshot or whatever. It
Snapshot,
doesn't matter. Yeah.
I don't qualify for it because
No one does.
I'm driving during those hours.
No one does, because no one drives normal hours because
And-
no one's normal.
Yeah, and so
Exactly.
So again, they set me up for an insurance plan that doesn't cover my car. They used my billing address to set up all of the paperwork because that lowered my interest and it lowered my insurance, which
Yep.
lowered my payments. Because when I told them, so the whole thing is fraud. I've had to call Progressive, Chase Bank, the dealership, I mean, it's been like a 3-month hassle. So yeah, I definitely would say when it comes to buying a car, try to save up, try to pay cash. Even more than that, because for me, another reason I got this car was the buses were not running.
Yep.
They were running maybe 1 out of every 3 buses.
And
you could only put
Yep.
10 people on a bus. I
Yep.
can't go get groceries and carry my groceries
and
home.
a lot of Uber drivers weren't even out driving.
Uber wasn't working.
Yeah.
I remember being at the grocery
Yep.
store and I had to wait 3 different buses until I could get on the bus. And I'm sitting there for 45 minutes. The whole time I'm trying to call an Uber, no Uber available. What was my breaking point was when I went to the Palazzo. My ride was $11.73.
That's dirt cheap.
At like 7 o'clock at night.
Dirt
I'm there for
cheap.
a couple hours with a client, and it's a Saturday. There's a fight. I can't get an Uber home for less than $60.
Yep,
and
that's normal.
And I can't get on the bus because it's too full and it's only dropping off.
Yep.
And so I'm like, what am I gonna do? Pay
Hitchhike.
$70 to get a mile and a half down the road? I'm gonna walk home at now 10 o'clock,
No.
past Circus, through the Gateway District.
Then try to hitchhike with someone you don't know.
No.
And then someone at a valet is not
woman
going to let you in
like
their car.
me,
Yeah.
At that late of an hour should not be walking alone through the Gateway District, should not be wandering around alone by Circus. That's just not a safe thing to do. So, you know, it was a whole thing. My client ended up paying for my Uber home, but that's when I was like, you know what? I got to go get a car. I can't keep doing this. So it has been a blessing.
It was a build-up, and you had to get it off your shoulders.
Yeah. So, you know, I did need to get a car. I went out and got one. I did actually. So before this car hit my credit, I went and bought another car.
Which one did you get?
I got a Hyundai Elantra.
Hyundai?
Hyundai Elantra,
All right.
yeah.
All
It
right.
was 13 grand. The guy that I know, I know what I was gonna say. The guy that I know sold it to me because he was like talking to so it's a corporation, it's not a franchise, but they have different district managers because they're in different cities. They talked it over with, they're like, come down, we'll help you. So they did end up selling me the car for less than what they gave for it on a trade-in.
That's great. Someone helped her out.
Yeah. And so that was really nice. So and with some of the back-to-back conventions that were in town, I mean, I was doing like 3-4 appointments in one day. I made so much money. So it was really a blessing to have the car. I never would have been able to do that with an Uber. I would have made like 20 to 30% of that money, and I really needed it because, you know, Vegas ebbs and flows.
Oh yeah.
So I
It's
mean,
all
I
or
could
nothing.
go weeks without an appointment, and then all of a sudden I have like 5 people that want to meet at the same hour.
Sure.
It's just like that. So having a car has been a blessing. So I'm glad that I am glad that I contacted him after the fact, and I told him, I said, you know, because he told me that it would take 30 days for the car to hit my credit. So
That
I was
sounds
like,
right. Yeah.
I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So I said, well, what if I come down there and buy a car from you real quick before this hits my credit? So they're, you know, Capital One knows that I'm not making payments on the Jeep. They haven't come and got it yet. It's just sitting there. I'm legally required to insure it, but I canceled the insurance. And the reason why is because I don't own the car. Under state law, I'm not the owner of the car. So I don't feel that I should have to insure it because under state law I don't own it. But what I was gonna say, sorry, I keep forgetting.
Go
This is of the utmost importance.
Go ahead.
When I contacted the guy I know at the Henderson store and I asked him point blank, I mean, I was asking him a lot of questions. And one of the questions I said, what's the commission? You want to know what the commission is? 30% on the front end, 5% on the back end, and the sales manager gets a cut of every vehicle sold.
Sure.
Of the 25 guys that work underneath of him.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
I think
should
that 20 grand is a pathetic amount of money to be doing this to somebody over.
I agree. Yeah. And should I start giving them the information?
Sorry.
It's okay.
I
You don't
wanted
have
to
be
make
sorry.
sure
You don't have
that
to be
they
sorry. You did good.
understood
You did good.
that they're getting
She did good.
35% commission off the sale of these cars.
Yeah. So you know, I just met her down here at the coffee shop, and you know, she makes a lot of good valid points, and I had to share this with you. Now, there's some bullets I want you to write down right now. If you have your phone or a tablet, a notepad, whatever you got, take it down. Here we go. Number 1. You always want to buy your car's private sale. So private sale it's from an owner that owns the car outright, and you don't ever want to buy a car that still has a lease on it or a loan. Sometimes it's a little sketchy. Also, you want to do your research on titles and take if you're new to buying cars, you want to take a notary with you. So you want to hand pay a notary 100, 200, 300 bucks an hour, whatever they charge, doesn't matter. This can save you thousands in the long run.
I never heard that tip,
Yep.
but it's definitely
It's a good idea.
The few $100s
It's
is
nothing.
worth it.
She's got to go through a lot
Yeah.
to get this handled with,
Yeah.
and it's not the money, it's the time, because
And my
she could
credit, I'm trying to buy a house.
yeah, she wants good credit and everything else. So another thing is, Capital One is one of the worst banking / credit cards you can get. They're very cheap, and they pay a lot of celebrities to say they're good, but they're just all a bunch of cod swallops. So that's an English word for basically splooge or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So don't deal with that shit. Get yourself a Chase credit card. Go ahead and get the card that I have. Put that down in the description section below. 1.5% cash back. I get $100. You
And
get 300.
also-
And all that. Best fucking credit card in the world. I'm gonna put it in the description down below. Get my Chase credit card. Now the other thing.
Get pre-approved.
All right.
Don't let them, because I didn't know this.
Exactly.
The dealership gets a percentage of the interest. See, I didn't know this, and I watched a video online about like
course.
6 different ways car dealerships make money. They flat out lie
Screw
to you.
They're not making money.
Oh,
They're screwing
they
you.
will lie to you, because I asked them about it just jokingly. I was like, oh, how much of this interest rate do you guys get? He's like, none of it. It goes to the bank. And this was offhanded before I even saw the video.
They're never going to answer you.
No, come to find out, that interest rate, when you go to the dealership and get approved from one of their lenders, they're getting a cut on the interest rate.
All right. Just making sure
Sorry
we're
to
still rolling.
intervene,
You didn't
but
intervene.
I
No, it's
didn't
good.
know that. And so get pre-approved. I wish I would have gone to Chase, where I have multiple accounts, and gotten pre-approved.
Yep.
Or Ally. All of these 3 cards were from Ally.
Now, another thing you could do is you can go to your local credit union. There's a lot of good credit unions in different areas. I personally have my cars, just one car through a credit union, and that's another great way to go. But if you're new to buying used cars, you want to take a car expert with you, someone like myself, or someone like a good friend of yours that might have at least 3.
Bring multiple people with you.
Well, that's okay.
Because
but
I feel like if I had somebody with me, they would have encouraged me to leave.
Exactly. Now you want someone that's got, hopefully 3,000 hours or more of car experience. I'm at around 10,000 hours. I worked at almost all the car dealerships here in town. I've been working on cars since I was in my 13, 14 years old. So it takes years to build the knowledge to handle it and to understand what you're looking at. Another thing to write this
That
note.
could be a career for somebody, actually.
It is.
If $100, $200 an hour, even $300
did.
an hour at some
I
of
did.
these higher dealerships, hire a liaison to come
I used to
with
do that.
you.
I used to have
or
a.
if you have a lot of knowledge of cars, become a liaison and really help people, because if I would have known that even existed, I would undoubtedly have paid somebody a few $100s to come with me and advocate for me, that somebody that understands the underlying education, the underlying information that you need to know to make sure that you're not getting ripped off by these people.
Yeah. So you want to get someone to take with you to buy this private sale car. And you might say it's too much of a hassle or you don't know anybody. If you're at that rate, I always recommend not buying a car. Cars, for the most part, are just a waste of money. They're just, my one old timer friend, he couldn't have said it better. Most of them are just plastic pieces of shit.
Nowadays they are.
They
They're not
really
like they were when I
are.
was
A lot of
kid.
them are just, they're plastic pieces of shit. And if you don't know a lot about
plastics
cars,
are so valuable, because they're actually made out of metal.
yeah, but it's true.
Cars nowadays
Yeah.
aren't even made out of metal. They're made out of plastic and styrofoam and computer chips.
Yeah. So I would say definitely take someone with you that's got experience. Another thing, never, ever buy any car warranties. If you're not sure about how to take care of a car, don't take care of a car. Don't buy a car. Take Uber, Lyft. carpool with someone, you're just not mature enough to own a car. And I don't want to sound like a big fat dick when I say that, but in the same truth, most people won't tell people the truth because they just want their business. They just want to get you to sign and get free money.
And these people told me that I don't
Sure.
have any legal recourse, but I've been
Sure.
reading the state statutes and there's laws on morality.
Yeah, and it really is the truth. And someone like me, I have no interest in making money on anybody by having their car break. I help people take care of their car, so I'll actually tell you the truth. And that's how I make my money, is giving up all these secrets on how to take care of your car, which we have all these playlists up here in the corner on how to change the fluids and to get your car to run longer and stronger. Get that sucker to run strong. It's time to put in the lube. The first one we're doing is the PI Performance Improver. This cleans the valves, the injectors, and all the carbon deposits inside the combustion chamber. What is that going to do? Up to 14% more power in just one bottle. And Bree, you got the honors of turning that cap, popping that seal, and sticking that sucker in. Don't ever be afraid.
I just put this in like I'm...
That's it.
gas?
And it goes in every 4,000 miles.
Like that?
Yep, and you hear the gulpa, 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 gulpa. That's the good sound you're going to want to hear. That's how you know it's going in. And now we're going to get out the upper cylinder lubricant. We'll go ahead and give you my key. You can pop the seal with that. So go ahead and open the cap. And then you're just going to pop straight in on the seal. And this is super sealed so it doesn't leak in your car if you throw one in your car. It's a very strong seal. And we'll give you a close-up, and she's just stabbing the hell out of it, which is what you got to do. Then just smush it around. That's good. I'll take the key back. Shove it in. Shove it all the way in. Don't be shy. Jab it in there.
Get her in there.
Get it all the way in. Shove it in. There you go. Yep. And that's it. It literally takes a couple of seconds. You don't want to get this stuff on your hands. It's pretty aggressive. It's not on your hands, is it?
Nope.
Good. She's gonna live. She's not gonna die. No, I'm just kidding. It's not gonna kill you. It's not gonna kill you. But you really want to do it in a ventilated area. And that's it. The upper cylinder lube. This one costs about the price of a cup of coffee. You put this in every single full tank of gas. It fights ethanol separation, lubricates the upper rings, and helps maintain and keep those injectors clean. So you have a clean atomization. Atomization is like spritzing a water bottle. You have all those little teeny weeny droplets that separate from each other. And there's air between each droplet, and it gives you more performance and power. You say, how much better does the upper cylinder lubricant do? The upper cylinder can do up to 4 miles per gallon better. And we have that on a Toyota Tacoma. Our good man Tyler, he's from the farmer's market. He did it on his car. The PI cleaner is going to do, if you have dirty injectors, it could get you easily a couple miles a gallon better. But the biggest cleaner is going to be the PI cleaner. So if you have an older car, you're going to want to do this first. If you have a car you want to maintain and keep it running so it lasts longer with higher compression, you're going to want to use the upper cylinder. I always recommend getting a case of the upper cylinder lube and getting 1 or 2 bottles of the PI cleaner. This one goes in every 4,000 miles, so it's not something you're adding all the time. And so Bree, are you going to tell us later how she runs?
Yeah, definitely.
And you're happy you got your Elantra?
Yeah. I am happy with the Elantra, yeah.
All
it
right.
gets really good gas miles. So.
And now we're bumping that up.
And it takes regular, so I can get the cheaper gas.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to get this sucker not running cheap. We're going to get this sucker running longer and stronger. All right. How's it feeling?
Oh, it's definitely accelerating way faster. I'll tell you, when I got the car, I'd actually been concerned about the transmission because I felt like there was a little bit of a lag in the shift to fourth gear.
And that's the weakest link on these, the trans.
And fourth gear is?
Yep, and we'll put a video up here in the corner on how to change the trans fluid on most Hyundais. We actually did a video with Valerie. She was a really nice part of the channel, and this is the weakest link, is the trans on these. Yep.
Yeah, and the transmission fluid, I think when I went to Advanced AutoZone to buy fluids, I couldn't buy transmission fluid because the transmission the thing is underneath.
It's sealed.
And yeah, it's sealed, and you have to have the part from the dealership.
Yep. Oh, you can get the part anywhere, but we're gonna put that link up here to my video on sealed transmissions.
Oh yeah, that would be nice.
Yep.
So yeah, I can definitely, just after going around the corner 3 blocks, feel that it's yeah.
Only 60,000.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
I've put about 2,200 miles on it since October.
Wow. All right, so we'll go rip around the block, and that's it. It's going to clean up the injectors, and she'll notice even a bigger difference. It takes about 5 gallons of gas to go through for the PI cleaner to completely clean your exhaust valves, and that'll actually help with fuel contamination, so you won't have as much fuel going into your motor oil, so your motor oil lasts longer. It'll keep that film. You'll have better compression, more power, and well.
So the fluids mix together?
They do. There's actually gasoline goes by the piston rings into the motor oil.
Oh.
Yep. But when you keep it sealed with a higher quality lubricant, upper cylinder lubricant, or if you have when you're using the 100% synthetic AMSOIL, you have that much more complete film, and that film seals the cylinder better, so there's less blow by and contamination.
Oh.
Yep. And the more fuel you get in your oil, the quicker your oil breaks down, and you need to change it.
Oh.
Yep.
Nice.
All right. Any other notes on how she feels?
It's definitely, like you said, you can feel it smoother right away. It's definitely shifting a lot better, especially when I just kind of like zoomed it up in a couple blocks. We're doing like 50 and a 25.
Watch
but
it.
like I
Easy.
said, easy there. But yeah, we don't want to get anybody in an accident.
Exactly.
But yeah, there was nobody on the street. It was just us for a few blocks.
And we're on the world famous Las Vegas Strip.
Boulevard.
Yeah, the Boulevard.
Some people were so upset. This crotchety old lady was just going off about how the Las Vegas Boulevard looks absolutely terrible. And I said, ma'am, right now they're renovating the road. And she looked around, she's like, yeah, it seems like they are. Does it not look to you like Las Vegas Boulevard is being renovated? Oh, you know what I told her? I said, yeah, they had to rip up the road because they're putting water lines in because this area floods a lot, which it does. So they ripped up all the roads in all of these neighborhoods to put water lines in that go down to 13th Street where the wash is at, because when Las Vegas was first built, there were no washes, which are like,
holy cow,
they're big like water collector basins underneath the city, and they go out to Lake Mead, but they didn't used to have them, and so these areas of the city would flood really bad, and cars would literally wash away. And so the lady, I'm explaining this to her, and I'm like, yeah, you know, it's under renovation. She's like, yeah, I guess it is. What is wrong with you? Can you not see the road construction? Do you not see the road construction here? People, I tell you, where do they come from?
That is hysterical.
Where do these people come from?
So this is the world famous Fremont Street,
which was just renovated. All of those signs that they had in the middle that are old. Oh, there's still one right there. But see how it's on the side of the road now? It used to be in the middle of the street.
Yep.
So they renovated this during the summer, during queue time.
All right. And we'll be back. Right, so we're back from the test drive, and Bree was going to mention something.
Yes, we were just talking about how the shift into 4th gear was so smooth. That's why I was pressing the gas and going a little bit faster than the speed limit so I could feel the shift. And literally, we just went around the corner, down the alley, and around the corner. We didn't even go very far, and it was immediate. I know that when it would shift into 4th gear before, it would almost like hesitate to shift, and I'd have to push the gas down like harder to get it to go. Yep. Especially on the highway. Now so much zipping around downtown, it's like 25, but when you get on like out towards Summerlin, the speed limits out there are 45. You get on the highway 65, 75, and so I was definitely putting more pressure to shift into those higher gears. Yeah,
and I always get a lot of comments on the channel, and people say they go this channel's a bunch of BS, and I wanted to make a point to mention this, that the reason why is there's a computer in the transmission that's letting off the throttle when it shifts. Well, when the fuel atomizes correctly and it burns cleaner, when it lets off the throttle, it changes the way it lets off that throttle. So if it stays on the throttle, it's not going to shift right. If it lets off too much, it's not going to shift right. So it actually pairs the timing with the computer to the way it's burning the fuel, and that's how it changes the way it shifts. And I've had so many people, they go, this channel's a bunch of BS. This guy's saying a fuel additive changes the way a car shifts, and it totally does. But most people don't understand how. So I just wanted to explain how it does.
In layman's terms, the way I kind of understood what he was saying was that if you're using cheap fuel or cheap lubes, like cheap fluids in your car, any fluids, just cheap fluids, what it does is they're more abrasive and less smooth, and so they're going to cause things to shift and rattle around more. And so the more things are vibrating and moving around, the harder it is for the gears and all the moving parts to move, because the whole thing is just vibrating and shifting around so much. So it makes it more difficult. Whereas when you get a more smoother fluid in there, it like calms things down a little bit.
Yep. And this is the thing, it's got the heater on, and it's just humming away. Super quiet. Hey, and if you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe. Go ahead and tap this little button, and then you're gonna see the notification bell. You're gonna go in here, you're gonna allow it, all the settings in the badge. You're gonna go back, and you're gonna click this bell, and you'll hit all notifications. That way you'll get a notification when I publish my next video. That way you can leave a comment on any of my videos within the first 3 hours, and I randomly select people for the end of month giveaway. We give $100 gift cards away, all kinds of stuff. So we'll see you at the last Saturday. Run longer and stronger. Get that sucker to run strong. And you know, it's the truth. And you know, so many people use tactics to scare you. The mechanics will try to scare you.
Oh, speaking of mechanics, so I took the truck to these mechanics that I know that I've been going to for a very long time. My friend works for a limo company. They take their vehicles there. And I take the truck in. He says it's $200 to $2,500 worth of damage if I were to have him fix it.
Sounds right, yep.
And he told me that before I buy a vehicle, I have the legal right to take it to a mechanic and have it inspected.
Of course.
I didn't know that.
And you can always...
I didn't know that, but you have the legal right. So if you have a regular mechanic like me that you trust, that I've been working with for probably 12 years now, and then you know, definitely take the car to get inspected. And if they buck you, then that's your indication that they're not selling you a quality vehicle.
Exactly.
You're getting a lemon.
Yep.
If they're not going to let you take it to a third party to get inspected,
don't buy it.
No. I
Yep.
wish that I would have known that.
Yep. So write these notes down, replay this last section. Now, if there's anything I missed, guys, I know I have a lot of my great subscribers that love the channel. Leave a comment down below what else we should add to this. But these are some basic bullets.
If you want to see a follow-up video,
yeah, we'll do one.
Yeah.
We'll do one. And check out Vladimir's Honda horror story. That's a good one. You can see my personal Corvette accident where I total my car. A new driver, resilient kid just trying to get his dick wet on a Friday night. He swerved right the fuck in front of me, almost hit the car next to me, totaled my Corvette, totally his fault. And you can check out that video. You can laugh at Eben. So go watch that video.
That's driving in
Laugh
Las
at Eben.
Vegas. I mean, that's basically driving in Las Vegas.
Yep.
You have to be offense and defense behind the wheel at the same time.
And also, I want you to subscribe to the channel. That way you can come back and watch gobs and gobs more videos later. It's loads of fun on the channel, and we love giving back and helping people. We do the giveaway every last Saturday of the month at 11 a.m. where we do, we do Snap-on tools, hundreds and hundreds of dollars in Snap-on tools. We've given thousands of dollars away in gift cards, and the giving comes back so much stronger every year. So if you're not familiar with it, keep your eyes peeled every last Saturday of the month.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So any other closing notes?
Yeah, I think that's all for right now. Like you said, maybe in a few months, I still need to file a few more reports.
We'll have to do a follow-up.
And yeah, I was just reading through the statutes, and there's all kinds of different agencies. There's actually an agency that's part of the DA's office where if you know of a disabled or vulnerable person that's been in an experience like me, you can report it.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. So note that down. Is there something they should call, or do you know?
Yeah,
what that's
you know
called,
what? We should put it in the link.
All right,
I
we'll
don't
put it in
have
the-
the
we'll put it down
information
there.
with me, but
She'll
I read
send
it
it
in
to
the
me.
statutes.
We'll
yeah.
have Bree send it to me, and
Yeah.
we'll put it in the description. So yeah, we're trying to help the most we can. And if this content was helpful, go ahead and slap that thumbs up button.
Oh, two more things. Sorry. Before you
Slap
buy a
it.
car, there's a website called civillawselfhelpcenter.org.
That's good.
And that is a program that the city of Las Vegas has put together with a bunch of generous donors where you can actually learn about the law, learn about your rights, get a free consultation with an attorney. It's a 15-minute consultation. You sign up online, and they have a section on there that's newer that is about information you should know before buying a used vehicle. There's also a report on, I think, like Fox 5 News or something on the Las Vegas channel that also goes over different like information and steps, things you should know before buying a car. And I don't think that those were available a few months ago. I really think that those are a lot newer.
All right. So yeah, look for that down in the description section below.
Yeah, we'll link all of that.
Yep.
There's a lot of resources.
Right here in the middle, we got Eben's Corvette accident. You'll get a chuckle. Here we got Vladimir's Honda horror story. And this will be the follow-up up here in the corner. We'll see you back right here on synthetic oil protection.
Cheers.
Cheers to protection,